Everybody, I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee, December 3rd, 2009. We have four of us here. We do have a quorum if we are going to vote on anything. Since we have 7 members, we're down 2, which we'll get to in a minute. First order of business, Matt, with the when and if the new township manager comes on board, what we'd like to do as a group is to get a good information package together, meet with the new township manager and even the solicitor, whenever that might happen, to give a quick overview of the comp plan that was adopted in 2003, and then also the goals and action items that were completed and where we plan to go, as well as a quick bio on all of us here and all the years of experience we've had in the township and where it goes. So would that be something that you would think would work well, or do you have any other suggestions for something?
No,
like
I think that's a really good idea. Hopefully that will happen in the first quarter of next year. And in fact, I was thinking about it. In 3 years, the new one's going to be due. It's 2013 is the new comprehensive plan per the municipal planning code. It needs to be updated every 10 years. And that's a big undertaking. I mean, we think about 2003. It doesn't seem like that long ago yet. Here we are 7 years out.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
So there's going to be discussion about that and where we go and stakeholder consensus and subcommittee formations and township-wide. So it's going to be a big effort. So we're going to need to start focusing on that, in my opinion, in 2010.
It's a great point, Matt. Thank you. On that same procedural issues and I guess housekeeping, Matt, we're down 2 members from our committee, which was Rick Yulo and Steve Bages. And are you going to be putting advertisements, or how does that work? Do people talk to you, Bill Martin, me? How does that work?
Well, we can do a couple different things. I think the first thing we'll do in-house here is put it on the Board of Commissioners' agenda as an announcement, probably under community development for vacancies. In fact, I'll do that tomorrow.
For Monday night?
For Monday night, and for the 2 upcoming Board of Commissioner meetings, they're the 7th and the 14th. Get that announcement on there. And then for any of those interested parties that wish to come on board, should submit a cover letter and a resume to Bill Martin, the Assistant Township Manager, 301 Ivan Avenue, Wayne, PA 19087.
Okay. And one of the pieces of the puzzle that was missing out of all this when Rick Yulo left was the Garrett Hill, he was on the steering committee and knows that area very well.
Yes.
And we all feel, I think, as everybody else does, that they're an important part.
Absolutely.
That should be involved too.
Sure.
To understand everything we're doing and also vice versa.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we'll
Hopefully
get
we
some from there.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Okay, thanks.
I have 2 names who I think should be spoken to, one being either Mr. or Mrs. Barker,
Already have.
and
They are, Rick is very interested in it, and he's very enthused, and he's very organized, and obviously very intelligent on the subject matter.
think he should
He's-
be seriously
I would
considered.
love to have Rick Barker, or Patty Barker, or anybody
Yep.
else on that steering committee, because they're all.
And how about Jim Greenfield?
Eh,
We mentioned,
Yeah,
we mentioned Jim Greenfield before. He was someone that I really would like to have seen when we had an opening before. But I'm just wondering whether he does a lot of legal work in the township,
That's
whether
true,
in
too.
some way it might impinge upon his income.
well,
Wouldn't hurt to ask them.
somebody like that is
We
on.
don't meet that often.
Right, exactly.
It's not likely to conflict, so for
But you
what
know-
it's worth, that's
Yeah,
the other
I
one.
think he's. a
And
good
actually,
person.
that's a great point, because one of the things that during the comp plan itself was Don Petrosia,
Was a
who's
help.
the real estate attorney, and he was able to give us some, very practical,
Yep.
real-time advice instead of having us take the time to draft something that really wouldn't hold water. So
Right.
Yeah.
that would be great too. That's a great suggestion.
So those are my 2 suggestions.
Do you want to give
I'll call Jim.
Jim?
Jim?
Okay.
I'll call him.
I'll reach out to Rick
I'll call
Barker
him
again and
tomorrow.
ask him to either forward a resume or,
Tell them to flip with Patty for it.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Okay. The next item is the subcommittee reports, and I know
On
that.
mine, old business is next.
Well, I'm sure, yeah. I'm still surprised you're still here.
Is there a basketball game on tonight?
Nah,
No.
not that I care about.
Oh, okay.
Well, two people that aren't here, John Fisher's out of town, and Al Murphy had business conflicts. So John Fisher did forward a written update on his subcommittee, which I'll read, I guess, at the end. But we do have the housing demographics, socioeconomics that Rick Yulo was in charge of as a vacancy as well. So hopefully, we could get new people on board and kind of
Do both.
put them into the mix there,
Right.
yes. I'll go first here. The community services and facilities, not much update since our September 3rd meeting. Again, the three biggest areas that we feel are important to community services and facilities are the Radnor Library, the Radnor Fire Department, and the Radnor Senior Center. All three are very integral to the downtown Wayne and to the community itself. I know that all three, especially the library, I'm on the Board of Trustees with the library as well, and with the state budgets and lack of funding that has come up, we have to be very creative. The good thing about that is there's some great leadership with Kathy Mulroy, who is now the executive director of the library, and George Strummel, who's the president of the Board of Trustees. So we're in very good hands moving forward. Again, we have to be creative. I know with the Radnor Fire Department, Dave Roderick was up at the Board of Commissioners, I think at the last meeting or the meeting before, explaining possibly a new truck or something like that, you know, is very important as well. And the senior center is always looking for, you know, expansion or some updated facilities and just keeping anything new. And really with the senior centers too, is try to get them on the radar screen. Not just when either our parents or us get older, but now. And so we'd like to see a big volunteer effort happen with the senior center as well. So from my end, I'm going to still continue to reach out to those three organizations. Anybody else, any other organization or facilities that seems important, please pass on to me. And hopefully we'll get a good game plan for 2010 to, you know, help out these three very important
Pillars of
people.
our community.
People,
yeah.
pillars of the community, exactly. So unless anybody had questions on that. Cheryl, do you want to go next with the transportation and circulation?
Right, I don't have good news. At our last meeting, I said that we had applied for a Safe Routes to School grant. This was in conjunction with the police department and the school district. And unfortunately, we did not receive the grant. The grant had to be submitted in October, I think it was October 17th. And we heard shortly thereafter that we did not receive the grant, which is kind of a shame. I thought we had such a good possibility with both St. Catherine's and the middle school being right next to each other and the number of people in our community who walk. But I guess it is not to be so. However, while I was hoping that this was happening, I talked to a lot of people, and they're really enthused still about doing something about traffic. And I did contact Sergeant Smith from the police department to see if he could help us move forward in some kind of more concrete traffic calming. There has been, I'm sure everybody has noticed the ridiculous amount of work that they're doing on the corners on Lancaster Avenue, tearing up the sidewalks and whatever. That's the...
It's a PennDOT, right?
The PennDOT with this lighting, right, the synchronized lighting. But they are also, part of it has been very nice. They have done a very nice job with the cross lights. When you press that now, you get a response. I didn't know that they were, it's a very short time period between when you press it. You used to have to wait until a car ran over the treadle and then it would work. Well, now it seems to be working actually with the pedestrian pressing.
And they're altering the sidewalk so that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
for
They're
handicap.
making, before they had all been done kind of catch as catch can. Now they're all similar. They all have also that dot texture for the blind or whatever. So it's really been very nice. So I'm very pleased about that. So we will continue to work toward traffic calming. I know that our civic organization is very interested in doing that because we get a lot of cut-through. South Wayne gets probably more cut-through traffic than any other neighborhood because we have a lot of people coming through from Newtown Square, et cetera. So we'd really like to get some kind of traffic calming and make it safer for us to walk. It would be nice. So that's my story about that.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl.
Mhm.
Robin, environmental and natural resources, anything?
The focus, I think, is on floodplain protection and restoration, and the FEMA maps have been updated in 2009, and so Radnor needs to update its ordinance to accommodate the updated maps, and also there are adjustments that the county is asking for in our floodplain ordinance. Some of them are pretty pro forma, but it is an opportunity for us to look at how we might want to look at pushing the envelope a little bit in terms of what is and isn't allowed in the floodway, and really trying to discourage as much interaction with the floodplain altogether as possible. It's a good way to be sort of steering redevelopment to be farther away from our waters. So that's, I have not dug into this at all, but Matt indicates that the township is already working on it, so we'll take a look and see what we can do to just explore possibilities for making Radnor's ordinance as good as it can be. The other thing I would say is that I think possibly in 2010, we'll want to look at any of the opportunities that derive from the greenhouse gas emissions reduction work that's going on in the township. There may be some opportunities to be promoting sustainability, and so that might be another thing to be looking at for how it relates to planning.
Okay. Robert and Matt, is there a drop-dead date for updating the ordinance, or is that something that just is on the radar screen?
I think they're expecting it in 2010.
Okay.
I'm not sure when, but to elaborate a little bit further on what Robin was saying, some of the changes are pretty substantial in this. It's sort of a template ordinance, and the fact that I was reading some of the definitions that perhaps could be inserted into zoning, and it's really redefining what a building is, what a building permit is, things that we've had in our code for years. And it's pretty substantial, certain aspects of it, in my opinion. So we're going to need to take a really close look at it. I think the Planning Commission hopefully would review it soon. But there's still a long process to go on that part. And maybe perhaps the Implementation Committee could review it as well.
Sure,
I
absolutely.
think we should.
Yeah.
These new definitions that you mentioned, are they palatable for us? I mean, you seem to kind of be not so sure about them.
No, I'm only, my concern is that I just don't want to, we've had these definitions, not that they're the best definitions, but I don't want to bring something new in that's not the right definition. I just want to take a close look at it
Right, exactly.
and understand it a little bit better. Because it was kind of given to us, Dan Malloy forwarded on to me. And, I thought it was going to be a short, but it's 15, 20 pages
Who
of,
generated this?
I believe,
The county?
from the county.
Okay, so this is like Karen?
And, I guess their expectations are all for all 49 municipalities to adopt this, but I think, each municipality is unique, and you have to cater it to your own needs. But it's certain ones are very appropriate. Other ones, I want to be careful from a zoning perspective that we don't have any unintended consequences
You
Okay.
throw everything into a nonconformity and therefore by opening the door in some
Right.
way, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks, Robin. Mr. Simon, institutional.
I met on Monday with Tony McGeorge, the president of Valley Forge Military Academy, and just to highlight the points that we raised and he discussed. They have, due to the state of the general economy, deferred their master plan for several years. They do have some cash flow issues, as do many similar institutions. They this year have 334 college students. And they're capped for that. Their ultimate top for that is 400, so they're in pretty good shape there. Wheeler Hall, which they were going to tear down, they have instead now finished renovating and will continue to renovate for additional classrooms. And
Where's that, John?
Huh?
Where's Wheeler Hall?
Wheeler Hall, I believe, is nearest to St. David's Golf Course.
Okay,
I could be wrong on that, but that's my recollection.
all right.
At the moment, they have a total student population of 603, and that's relative to last year at this time when they had 584. Their fundraising is only 3% below what their target was, which December will tell whether they fall further behind that or they make the target. But as of the end of November, they were 3% behind where they hope to be. And that is my report.
Great, thank you, John. The financial crisis, I'm not going to say crisis, financial situation of the academy is, well, but the student population, I guess, staying about the same or even a little bit higher, and the fundraising the way it is, I don't think there's any, they should be around. They should be still a
Oh,
viable entity.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And very solvent.
They're an important part of this community in my
Absolutely.
judgment.
Okay. Thank you, John. John Fisher, who is in charge of open space and recreation, again, couldn't be here, but he did provide a written report that I'll read briefly. It's not that long. This was dated Sunday to myself and Matt Bauman. Reference IC meeting December 3rd. Back in July, the commissioners authorized Tom Blumstrom, Bob Thomas, the township's outside rail consultant, and me, John Fisher, to meet with PennDOT, begin a dialogue of extending the Radnor trails across or underneath Radnor-Chester Road into Martha's Brown's Woods and eventually down to Ithan Village. The three of us met with 5 PennDOT representatives on October 7th. The meeting went well, although the PennDOT reps said they would have to consult with legal department in Harrisburg before responding to our request. The reps came back to us asking for more information, and Bob Thomas is in the process of providing that information. The three of us then met with Leo Barnaby, the school district, on November 11th to begin discussions with the school district regarding an easement across Martha's Brown's Woods. Again, the meeting went well. Leo said that he would brief the superintendent, who was unable to make it due to an illness, and the facilities committee of the school board. I don't expect to hear back until the reorganization meeting with the Board of Commissioners, or the board, I guess the school board, maybe. I'm sorry, with their new board, which is the school board. Commissioner Fisher has asked the Trails Committee of the Park and Rec Board to look into the possibility of some type of bike path along Lancaster Avenue, which might ultimately provide a connection between the P&W Trail and an eventual trail along the Route 100 corridor. The Trails Committee is scheduled to consider this matter at its December 1 meeting. Matt, unless there's any update to this is what it is. Okay.
Where was that again? From the P&W to the existing trail to,
It says here, provide a connection between the P&W Trail and eventual trail along the Route 100 corridor.
eastward?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
okay,
from
okay,
where the old trail, the old railroad bed was, that goes down toward the Route 100, there's that large swath of excess right-of-way
Yeah.
from essentially Villanova to Rosemont.
Okay.
Right, to Garrett Hill, actually. Because.
So that was the,
Right,
I'm sorry.
I had spoken to Commissioner Fisher about it also.
okay.
Confused about it, but he's not sure that,
Thank you for the committee reports. The next thing we want to talk about and discuss real
The historic and
quick.
architectural one.
Oh, that's right, that's you and me, right?
Right.
If you have a report, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I
Well,
apologize.
That's right.
Please, go ahead.
That's right. Steve and I have both been working with the Garrett Hill Group. They would like to become an historic district.
Oh, yeah, correct.
So we have a ton of stuff to read about this, which I have read before, but it's been years for the South Wayne, North Wayne, Llewellyn Court, et cetera. But it's, they would like to become a district, which would be a good thing also. And I recently spoke with people from Matlack Lane, which is affectionately known as Banjo Town, and they are also tentatively interested in becoming an historic district. I think the more that we can maintain these districts would be a really good thing for the township. Keep the scale of our houses and the visuals that everybody likes here. So I'm very pleased about those two things. That's about it.
Thanks, Cheryl, sorry I forgot about
That's
that.
right.
Also, I think the next meeting is December 9th,
December
Garrett
9th.
Hill.
Right.
yeah, which is great. Matt, 2000, I want very early in the first quarter to have on the agenda for the Board of Commissioners, an update that we're supposed to give them on the accomplishments of the previous year and where we're going with the next year. So what I'm going to ask each member of our committee to do is give me a pretty much detailed report of where they think they need to be for 2010, some of the action items that they would like to accomplish, so the Board of Commissioners can get a really good understanding of what we're trying to do, breaking off into different subcommittees. And then we'll go through and talk about the accomplishments. What I'd like to do, though, Matt, and everybody here, is have a little different format than what we have been presenting to the Board of Commissioners, which was really just that
Spreadsheet.
I like to see it more in a narrative form. So I think what we'll do is draft something up and then try to get input and refine it and have it as a good document that everybody can read over and get a good understanding of where we are, what we have been, and what we plan to do for 2010. And especially with new members coming on board as well, and also new Board of Commissioners,
Yeah.
and even school board members that are new.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So in other words, saying rather than adopted the Wayne Business Overlay District as you more of a description of,
Right.
of the events that occurred and what has changed, and something like that, right? A paragraph or so of each.
And kind of
Yes.
the high points of what it was we were looking for there, kind of like a broad brush stroke of what we're looking for
It's
each.
a good idea.
Yeah, and I think this year was different than any other year in that there weren't specific milestones of, yes, we complete it, but there's been a lot happening, obviously, that we want to make sure that the message gets out there and let everybody know what we're doing and how they can help and how we can help.
Because in these next 3 years, we have to finish everything in this document.
Yeah.
And you will have, as of the first of the year, a totally different Board of Commissioners.
Right.
Yes.
The whole picture will
Yeah.
be different. And I think it will have a new manager, we'll have different Board of Commissioners, it's a whole new picture, and I think that maybe we'll be able to move forward.
Not that we weren't allowed to move forward
And
beforehand.
I'm so sorry, I'm sorry.
We've-
Move forward in a different way.
Everybody, the staff and the Board of Commissioners have been very, very supportive of us, and I'd like to make sure that that is well known.
Well, everybody knows that we've,
Just
it's been a
press that
tense
button,
period.
please. Just- Thank you. Matt, or Cheryl, either one, the C1A, no, never mind, not Cheryl. Matt, the C1A for West Wayne that we're kind of stepped back from, but it's still on there. I know there was a meeting in October. And is there any update with that or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, we had a great meeting on October 22nd with the subcommittee members, Baron Gemmer and Kathy Wright and myself, hosting it here at the Township building. And I think it was a great meeting for the fact that we had lots and lots of property owners in attendance, and which is a good thing. Are we close to getting adopted? No, I don't think so. I think we still have a lot of work to do, a lot of differences to hash out, and a lot of things to work on. But the important thing is that they were there listening and perhaps understanding a little bit better, which is a good thing, rather than hearing it on the street. They were there in person. I think it's expected going forward. Well, there's a link set up on our website under West Wayne. West Wayne rezoning that Barron set up an email link. You just click on there and email and then request notification. And so I think with our budget constraints, it's going to be difficult to do a mass mailing like we did last time. It's just it's cost prohibitive. So it'll be easier to mail. But we're expected to have another meeting, perhaps either this month or in January, either here or at the building or at the Windsor Room, the library. And then go reassess how we feel at that point. And then either have another meeting or another meeting, however long it takes, before it gets back to the Planning Commission and the Board of Commissioners.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. And as you well know, I guess everybody here too, one of the worst things that could happen is misinformation.
Sure.
So it's good to get everybody in the same room.
Absolutely. Yeah, and in fact, there's more and more actual property owners that are joining the subcommittee,
Great.
working with the surrounding residents, which is it's a nice balance.
Good. Great. Thanks, Matt. Anything else? Any old business from our group? Any new business?
Well, again, I'd like to thank the implementation committee for your donating all your time throughout the years, and without you guys, it's none of this would be possible. So appreciate all the time you put in.
Well, thank you, Matt. It was very kind of you to say. Motion to adjourn.
Seeing no public comment, I move we adjourn.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.